Om Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Simple Meaning, Chapter 3, Karma Yoga, Communion through Action. Verse 10. Sahayajñāḥ prajāḥ sṛṣṭvā purovāca prajāpatiḥ anena prasaviṣyadhvameṣa vo'stviṣṭakāmadhuk. Padacheda. Sahayajñāḥ prajāḥ sṛṣṭvā purovāca prajāpatiḥ anena prasaviṣyadhvameṣa vo'stviṣṭakāmadhuk. Anvaya. Pura, in the beginning, Prajāpatiḥ, the creator, Brahma. Sahayajñāḥ, together with Yajñā, the sacrifice, prajāḥ, beings, sṛṣṭvā, having created, vo'āca, said, anena, by this, prasaviṣyadhvam, shall you multiply, yesha, this, to you, ishṭakāmadhuk, a cow yielding all your wants, which is also called as kamadhenu. Astu, let be. So the simple meaning is, in the beginning, Prajāpati, having created men together with Yajñā, the selfless work dedicated to God, or the Vedic sacrifice, the fire ritual, as their duty, declared, by this shall you multiply. May this be to you the cow of plenty yielding all your wants. So this shloka and the succeeding verses up to verse number 16 are put in the language of the Vedic sacrificial cult, in which Yajñā, the fire sacrifice, is the central ritual. As explained by Swami Tapasyanandaji, one of the very scholarly and very great monk of the Ramakrishna order, he explains this in this way. All old commentators comment on these in a literal sense, as Vedic ritualists conceived of a yajna. Like all the commentators, including Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, etc., and all the other commentators who have commented on these main commentaries, bhashyas, they all have commented on this shloka, this verse 10, and then the succeeding verses up to 16, in a literal sense, as the Vedic ritualists are conceived as yajna. So, Swami Tapasyanandaji continues, man can have a happy and prosperous life only if he lived in harmony with his environment, which consists of nature and the divine agencies, the devas, who control the forces of nature. Man gets his progeny and his sustenance as the gifts of nature and he has therefore got to be thankful to those divine agencies whose expression these forces of nature are. Man is required to make as offering of thanksgiving to the Devas a share of the good things of nature which he gets by their goodwill. This offering is made through fire, which is the link between man and the Devas, the gods. So, this thanksgiving takes the form of ritualistic fire sacrifices with offerings of commodities and utterance of Vedic hymns. Proper performance of these yajñas by individuals and communities secures the goodwill of the Devas, and through that worthy progeny and plentiful rain on which man's survival and sustenance in this world depend. To partake of this gift of the Devas without being thankful to them and without making the offerings due to them is a form of theft, as the Gita describes this, and a heinous sin. The relevancy of this in the Gita context here is that such an essential duty imposed by the Veda on man in society as sacrifice will not be possible for one who abandons works, and he will therefore be condemning himself to an unethical life, the life of a thief or exploiter. While this simple ritualistic conception of yajna is the plain meaning of these verses, that is from this verse 10 to succeeding the 16 verses. So, yajna is the plain meaning of these verses. It may be just a suggestion directed towards higher psychological and spiritual verities. Mahavishnu, the Supreme Being himself, is called yajna, and just as the cosmos is his physical expression or body, the whole sacrificial setup is considered a ritualistic form of his, and the offerings to Devas and all adoration done are only the adoration of the one Supreme Being whose parts all the Devas worshipped are. There is also the conception of the whole creative process as a sacrifice of himself by the Yajna Purusha. Besides, in the forthcoming chapter 4, the Gita itself speaks of yajñas of several types, of which fire sacrifice described as dravya yajña or sacrifice of commodities is only one. He describes Brahman knowledge itself as yajna and speaks of several forms of yajna like sacrifice of commodities, that is dravya yajna, sacrifice of vital breath, pranayama yajna, sacrifice of austerity, tapo yajna, sacrifice of scriptural study, swadhyaya yajna, and sacrifice of knowledge, jnana yajna. Thus, fire sacrifice, a ritual commonly known as and practiced, becomes the symbol for all the moral and spiritual effort of man for his higher evolution. Taking advantage of the symbolical value attached to the fire ritual called yajña in the Gita, a modern student of the Gita who is a stranger to the fire sacrifice as a ritual can interpret these passages in terms of relevant factors of social life today. Production and distribution of consumable commodities is done through an exchange of services by capitalists, technocrats, labor, the distributor, and the consumer. All these factors functioning with the good of the whole social order in view and contributing their respective services and receiving their due rewards without any party trying to take undue advantage of the others may be called yajña in social sense. All this is based on work, and a person who seeks all the benefits of society but keeps quiet and fails to contribute his share for social good can be described as an exploiter and a thief, as the Gita does. The difference in this interpretation is that in place of the divine agencies, only the social environment is taken for mutual exchange of services and rewards. This explanation sublimates the ritualistic yajña. So we will see this concept being elaborated in the forthcoming shlokas, the succeeding shlokas up till shloka number 16. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.